Magik, issue number 10 from Marvel Comics. This is the final issue of this series. This is the end of Magik. Not the character, but this is the end of her run, or at least her current run. And it starts where the last issue ended, where we have Magik, Danny, and Liminal in Cal's body fighting against the guards of this place, of the society. Danny and Magik are trying to basically just kind of knock these guys out. Liminal is using his powers to try to kill them. And Danny and Magik have to constantly interrupt him from being able to kill their enemies. And we get this one moment where they decide to combine their powers, Cal, or I should say Liminal and Magik, to put a barrier around the rest of the guards that are still conscious and trap them. But Liminal is using part of Magik's power to instead slowly kill them, until Embodiment shows up and breaks the barrier. But they're knocked out, so now it's just our trio and Embodiment. And Embodiment basically just says that you guys are evil. Chaos is Magik's default state. You have to see that, Danny. Are you really going to throw your life away for some demons? So her thing is that all demons are evil. She's basically like Farron, where demons can't have any kind of good in them whatsoever. And so Danny picks her side, and her side is obviously with her friends. And that's when Danny reveals that the Exemplars were here the entire time. The Exemplars being Embodiment's right-hand men. And they were here, they were just like invisible, and they've been eavesdropping on the conversation. And the Exemplars turn against Embodiment. They basically say, this place has festered with rot, and we gotta cull it from the inside. This isn't the future that we want. That we can't be judging people on an act that they haven't committed yet. We're supposed to be peacekeepers, not a militia. Basically, Embodiment wants to do a whole Minority Report thing, where she wants to use her powers to judge people before they've committed an act. The thing is that Embodiment, unless she's under the machine that we saw in the last issue, she only sees a few seconds into the future. So she's judging people mostly just based off her own whims, not necessarily off of the future, because I mean, unless they're going to commit a crime in like 3 seconds, then obviously she can stop it. But other than that, she basically just wants to get rid of Magik because of the fact that Magik has the Dark Child in her. She wants to get rid of Cal just because Cal has Liminal in him. So she is just anyone that has any kind of dark powers within them, we got to kill them. And of course, the Exemplars are like, nah, that's not what we signed up for. So Magik draws Embodiment away. Like, Embodiment realizes she's on her own, so she tries to kill Magik, and Magik starts leading her away from everyone else. And that's when Embodiment starts using her own powers to stop Magik from being able to cast spells. And Magik is like, alright, then I guess we'll only use swords. Then we have a moment where Embodiment is like, the problem with enchanted weapons is that they're ineffective when met with a normal blade. I'm like, I don't think that's true. Like, if you were to have a sword fight between someone with a normal sword and someone with an enchanted sword, I'd give the advantage to the person with the enchanted sword. So that didn't make sense. This next line does, though, where she says, more so, the swordsman begins to rely on their weapon's power versus their true skill. So in that regard, yes, I can see that happening, and I can agree with that. Magik basically allows Embodiment to like knock her into an area that leads to the Library of Fates. The Magik is like drawing her into this area. The Library of Fates, for anyone who doesn't remember what that is, it's a nexus of information. It's where like all the books containing most of the knowledge in the world, both practical, theoretical, supernatural, they're all contained here. So it's basically it's a giant library of knowledge. Embodiment is like tossing spells at Magik. Magik is dodging, they're hitting bookshelves, they're exploding, they're causing fire and damage and stuff. And that's when Magik reveals that she's been planning this the entire time. Embodiment thinks that Magik was just trying to hide from her, but Magik leaps at Embodiment, and Embodiment is going to cast a spell when a book comes and zaps Embodiment. And Magik reveals that the problem with your powers is that you can only see a few seconds into the future if you have literal eyes on them. So this does answer my question from the previous issue where I was like, why didn't she see the fact that, like, she can see her dad about to get shot, but Embodiment wasn't able to see that her dad taking her to their leader was going to end up with her dad being killed, as well as her being captured and stuff. And the reason for that is because, one, she can only see a few seconds into the future unless she's hooked up to the machine. And two, is that she can only see into the future of whatever she has visual contact with. Like, she has to have eyes on the person or the thing that she wants to see into the future, unless she's hooked up to the machine. What Magik was doing was she was using the explosions in the bookshelf to basically create a plan. She was putting her plan into motion. And because embodiment didn't have visual contact with Magik, embodiment wasn't able to see the plan that Magik was hatching up. And so she can't see the future that Magik is going to use against her. And that future is basically to use all the spells around the area to prevent embodiment from using her abilities to the fullest. And I like this where she uses the books to hide embodiment's eyes, to cover her eyes so that Magik can get in there and get a shot in. And I like this moment where embodiment goes to stab at Magik. Basically, she's able to see that Magik is going to take a swipe at her, and so she ducks. But the thing is that as she's about to stab Magik, Magik uses a book that's on the ground to shoot a spell that knocks the sword back and causes it to deflect away. So Magik has basically trapped embodiment by being able to use all these spells. She also reveals that inside the building, I wasn't able to use my stepping discs and things, but I can use that here. So she uses it to start knocking embodiment away. And she beats embodiment. And she tried to do the Naruto talk no jutsu, trying to say that we're no different from each other in the sense that we're on the same side, and that I've been viewed a monster my entire life. I've even viewed myself as a monster, so I understand, where you're coming from. But not trusting others led me down a dark path, just like it did with you just now. That feeling in your stomach isn't guilt, it's shame. It's placed there by someone else, don't let them win. It's a decent conversation. Magik leaves. And then when she arrives back into the building, she sees that Liminal has fully taken over Cal and is killing a bunch of the guards that are still left alive. I'll stop it here. Usually, for the final issue, I'll spoil it and stuff, like I did with Helverine. But the thing with Helverine is that I waited a week before I spoiled it, whereas this is going to come out on Monday, so it'll only be a few days after the release, so I don't want to be spoiling it. I'll give my thoughts on the ending without spoiling what actually happens. If you want to find out what happens at the end, you got to read it for yourself. I thought that this series overall, I enjoyed the series. I thought it had its bumps, it had its hiccups, but overall it wasn't too bad. I feel like the final few issues was when it really started to dip down. But I don't know if that's because of the writer themselves, or if that's just because the series was getting canceled, or the writer was told, hey, your series is going to end at issue number 10, so start wrapping everything up. I kind of want to assume that it's the latter, just because everything in the beginning and middle and stuff was pretty decent. It's only until the final few issues that things have really hit their low point. So I'm assuming it's just one of those things where it's well, we have issues to wrap everything up, so we kind of have to speed run everything, which is always a shame when that happens. If that's not the case, then that's what it feels like. It feels like this is pretty much, hey, we got to wrap everything up. We didn't have enough of embodiment to truly build her up to be this antagonist. I mentioned this mostly in the last issue where we got her backstory and stuff, and I was like, I feel like that was too late. The way that it was spaced didn't really make sense. I think it would have been a lot better if we had drawn out this a little bit more, where we have Danny and Magik and Liminal going out and doing multiple missions, and the missions are more and more dangerous, and that's when they slowly start to realize that it feels like maybe embodiment is trying to weaken us through a battle of attrition, where we're accomplishing our goals, but it's draining a lot out of us, and when we're at our weakest, that's when she's going to attack. That's what was basically the story here, but it didn't work because they only went on one mission. So that's where I feel it's because this is maybe what the writer wanted to do, but she wasn't able to have that time to do it. Yeah, because of that, there's a lot thrown in at the final couple issues. Everything feels very, very rushed. I'm not the biggest fan of this. I feel like it basically is one of those where it starts with the bang, kind of ends with the whimper. That's what Magik's run has been. Mine, it's dips every once in a while. I've talked about pretty much every issue, so you can see the faults that I've had with it. But overall, I've enjoyed this run a lot. I thought it was pretty good. I found myself really entertained. Could it be better? Yeah, but it could have been a lot worse. I've read way worse from Marvel, and especially modern Marvel. I thought this was pretty decent. I liked it. I was a bit sad to hear that it was nearing its end. I'm hoping that the writer continues to get another chance, I think she's done a good job, especially with like the occult stuff. I think I don't know if that's her specialty. This is like I don't pay attention to the writers when it comes to series. Like there are a couple times, like Kyle Higgins, Benjamin Percy, and stuff like that, where I know who's writing it. But for the most part, when I am reading a comic, I don't know who's the writer. I don't know who's the artist. I know the names are on the cover, but I tend not to pay attention. And the reason why I do that is because I want to judge a series based off of the series and not based off of the people behind it. I want to separate the art from the artist, especially now in the age of social media, where you pretty much have people spilling like their entire life and beliefs and stuff. I kind of don't want to associate the person with the comic. I want the comic to speak for itself. So even now, as I'm talking about this, I know that the writer is a female. I know I can just scroll up to find out what her name is, but I'm not going to because, again, I just want to just judge this as itself. But I will say that I thought she did a pretty good job. I think she faltered a couple of times, but everyone does. And the faults didn't harm the series for me all that much. I still thought it was really good. I would like to see her continue writing. I would like to see her do another Magik series. I think she's done a pretty decent job of it. So yeah, I thought this was a good run. It's just a shame that the ending kind of faltered. But again, I feel like that's more to do with the fact that maybe they were rushed to have to end this by issue 10. Because that's how it feels. The final build-up and battle with Embodiment. I mean, I guess the battle itself was fine. I thought it was a decent length. But I feel like the build-up to it, to Embodiment being the antagonist, could have been better. And I think the final showdown with Liminal is just not good. It's too quick. You've been building Liminal up as like this big baddie for multiple issues. Like he was the big antagonist in the very beginning, for most of the middle. Even after he's been sealed into Cal, he was still like a threat that was constantly brought up. And then when he's finally free, the battle is too quick. Like this is supposed to be like a god almost. And it doesn't feel like that. That's all I'll say about the ending. So yeah, all in all, decent series, poor ending. And in terms of just this issue on its own, the fight with Embodiment was... I liked the fight with Embodiment. I liked how Magik used like her tactician abilities to win that fight. Like I thought that was kind of cool. Like instead of just brute forcing her way through the fight, she had to basically like draw her into this area, use the cover to be able to hatch out her plan, and then, accomplish that plan. I thought that was all cool. The latter half, I didn't really enjoy all that much. So that's Magik. Good run, poor ending. Hopefully, we'll see more of Magik. I would like to see her get her own series again. And I wouldn't mind having the same writer come back to do another Magik run. I think she did a pretty decent job for the most part. There you go. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you next time. Take care. Later. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, I still want to thank you for watching it this far, and I hope the next one is more to your liking. With that said, thank you once again, and I hope you guys and gals have a good one. Later.